I don't know, 5'5"?
Oh, he's shorter than me. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I wonder if there's like a legit answer to this. How tall is Lucanus?
While she's doing that, just to let you guys know, we have one more. Huh?
3.
He's 5'3".
You actually did give me a little bit of a jump that time, so you're coming back.
Yes. All right, we're back on track. Now, here's the thing. I've come up with this. So we know Emily might hate this. If she does, the transition to the old way is like a 2-second fix. Like, I don't have to do anything.
It looks blurry. Or like... I don't know how to describe it. It's something about it looks less clear.
We can switch back. It will take 2 seconds.
No, this is fine.
Are you sure? All you have to do is close OBS Ninja and turn on your Discord cam. That's all you have to do.
Fine. This is fine for now. It looks good. It looks good. I think it looks good. It just looks...
Guys, we got the it's mid. It's not even bad. It's just mid.
It's something about it looks a little like... I don't know the word I'm looking for.
I think, you know what? Honestly, we did this a hard way. I could have shared my screen in Discord.
You know what?
We're past this. We're past this.
It looks good.
We have another week to fix this. Hi everyone. Hi Emily.
Hi.
Weirdly, I haven't really talked to Emily since the last podcast. I don't think we've really chatted about anything.
No, we haven't. I have been playing a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition. Like
Veilguard.
Veilguard. Sorry, not Inquisition. Veilguard. A lot of it. I am like 2 trophies away from the platinum.
I think you're correct. When I did the corrections, OBS Ninja does some weird things. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
It's good enough. It's good enough for tonight's episode.
Are you going for the plat? Are you gonna get that plat or no?
Yeah, I'm only like 2 trophies away from it, and they're not hard trophies. One is getting the true end, which I have all the prerequisites for now. I just have to go and play through the ending segment again. Mm-hmm. And then another is like upgrading all my gear, or like a certain amount of gear to the highest level, and I'm almost at that as well.
That's not bad at all.
No, there's no like level or like difficulty trophies or anything like that.
I did already tell Emily this, and I also told Yuji this. I did finish my platinum for Metaphor this past weekend.
Nice.
There is so technically it does require New Game Plus unless you are a masochist, which I honestly don't think it is possible unless you do almost all of it New Game Plus. Because there's a super boss that unlocks only in New Game Plus, and it's recommended you're at level 70 to fight it, and you have to like go through the game to get to that point. That took me 3 hours to beat on easy.
It doesn't sound very fun. That sounds very frustrating.
It's my one negative. My one real negative with Metaphor is that there are 2 bosses that if you take too long, they have auto kill things. Like you have to beat him within a certain amount of turns, or he'll auto kill you.
I don't care for that.
It's kind of a pain. I got it done. I'm happy about it. It is what it is.
We'll call it a win. You did it.
We call it a W. It's still probably my game of the year, that or Astrobot. I did also play all the release. Oh shit, there was another one released today. Astrobot every Thursday has been releasing those speedrun levels, and the last one releases today. I played all of them. I have not played
a single one of them. I didn't know that.
You don't have to do it very fast to get you have to do it within a certain time to get both the characters. 2 characters per level. But they're not like particularly hard. I did them after like some of them I did on my first try. One of them it took me like 2 or 3 tries, but it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Any
good characters? Any characters I would be interested in?
I don't think so. I mean, there's the Stellar Blade character.
Oh, good.
They brought back.
So glad she made it in.
They brought back Heavenly Sword Girl, which for those of you who were not huge in the PS3 era, that was one of the big game launch titles for PS3 was Heavenly Sword, and then they did nothing with it after that. So she came back.
Great.
all the Helldivers. They have a whole bunch of Helldiver units.
Where's Ezio, man?
Didn't they have an assassin?
They had an assassin in Playroom.
Oh, that's probably why they didn't bring it, because they didn't have any Final Fantasy characters in this one either.
They also had like Last of Us and God of War in Playroom as well.
Yeah, but those are Sony IP.
I don't know. That seems silly.
There's no Kingdom Hearts characters in either of them, so.
That's silly too. Bring in Kingdom Hearts, man. What are we doing?
They won't, because Disney probably won't let them.
Okay. Then my point stands. Still bring in Assassin's Creed. You can do it. I know you did. You can. You did it in Playroom. He's there. Just do it. Thank you.
Valid. Valid. Let's jump into the news. One of them is just kind of funny because this is the one thing Emily and I did talk about over the past couple days. I saw a video. Somebody was playing Piglet's Big Game, and they put the Silent Hill 2 music to it, and it worked incredibly well. And I don't know if that video is what sparked this or not, but a lot of people playing Piglet's Big Game noticed there's a lot of similarities to Silent Hill 2 in a Piglet game.
It's an impressive number of similarity. Like, I can't believe it's anything but intentional. Or the internet's lying to me, and this actually isn't the way the game is.
The price of this game shot up, like, a lot. It was, like, $12 to, like, $20, depending where you looked, and now it's over $200.
You know what? Piglet deserves it.
I'm gonna see if they finally updated price charting. I don't think they did, because price charting is still wrong. Price charting is still like, oh, it's only a $30 game, but no, everywhere on eBay and Mercari and everything
is a highly sought after boy.
Yeah, apparently, like, it exploded in price if you look on eBay. You know what? Screw it. We'll look on eBay, and then I'll show everybody. Piglets.
This big game.
Big game. Now, the GBA version stays cheap. Oh, the price is somewhat dropped to a more... It's still expensive, but it's more reasonable.
What's that?
It currently is at $150. It's still ridiculous. But where's my thing?
That's dropped like 50%.
It's dropped 25%.
You said it was like 300.
No, 200, ma'am. There it is. Yeah. It is a 138, 150. I would want the GameCube version. I wouldn't want the PlayStation 2 version. This is the one instance, like, normally I say if it's on Switch or PS5 or PS4, I'm going to buy the PlayStation version. This era, I'm going to buy the GameCube version over the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Switch thing is because shit don't run on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's old, and he's weak. He's frail.
Technically, the GameCube is a more powerful console than the PS2. It just can't play DVDs. So there's your fun fact of the day.
I can believe that. I just don't believe the Switch is more powerful than anything.
No, it's not. And it is November 14th at the time of recording this, and we still have no announcement, and I'm starting to lose hope.
I mean, they said before March, so there's still a lot of time left.
Yeah, they said before the end of the fiscal year, but I'm expecting a March release, because if they don't release it by March, the Switch will hit its 8th year.
Though. They didn't say they would release it by the end of the fiscal year. They said they'd announce it by the end of the fiscal year.
That's, you know what, valid.
They haven't failed in what they said they're going to do. People just assumed that because Switch 1 came out March, that Switch 2 will come out in March, and that was not stated.
True. Listen, consoles usually don't live this long, though. Consoles usually die by this point, and they're...
Sure, but consoles aren't usually, like, as crazy as the Switch is in terms of, like, how popular they were.
The Switch still hasn't surpassed PS2, though, in sales. It's so close. It is right there. It is on the nose.
Yeah, but the Switch is also portable in a way that the PlayStation 2 is not.
That's valid, except for, well, I mean, that's only half true now, given modders taking apart a PS2 and making it portable, but it's still, like, ridiculously not worth it.
Oh, that's crazy, Blake. Don't even include that. Don't try to tell me the PlayStation 2 is portable because some dude in his basement made it portable by taking it apart and making it some Frankenstein monstrosity.
I agree. The Switch
is a better console. And therefore, it's now a portable console.
The Switch is a portable console. The Switch is a better console. I'm rooting for it to surpass the PS2. I am rooting for it to surpass the PS2. I'm waiting for it. It hasn't done it yet. It's close.
I can't believe you just tried to tell me that the PlayStation 2 is portable.
Well, with emulators, speaking of portable consoles, let's jump into the
We might as well
news.
just close down the podcast. If that's the kind of argument you're going to bring to the table. That's so guy.
I'm the physical part. You think I play on emulators?
No, some dude ripped apart his PlayStation 2 and put it back together in some kind of monstrosity, and now it's portable. If that's what is driving your beliefs about the gaming industry, we're done.
It's not
over.
I do hardcore follow the modding community and the things that people have done to like the PS2 and the GameCube and the Wii. Like it's nuts.
Sure. It's fun, but you don't argue that like.
Oh no,
because one guy did it.
Okay, one. It's not one. You keep saying one guy. There's like a couple hundred out there. But two, dozens. Two. It wasn't a legitimate argument. Hold on. Okay. Speaking of portable, though, we are going to jump into the news because there is news related to portable things. First off, Xbox has pretty much confirmed they're releasing a portable console.
Why?
To rival the Steam Deck. It's going to be a Game Pass machine, essentially. I mean, that's why. For us non-Xbox fans, we're like, who cares? For Game Pass people, I can see the value proposition, especially if you're paying $15 a month for Game Pass to have all the games in Game Pass, but it's not going to be for me. Sony, give me another Vita. I will take another Vita. What are you doing? Don't release the Portal. You already released the Portal, but you know what I mean.
I don't need any more gaming consoles. Switch 2, you have permission to be released. Everybody else just calm down. All right, man. I don't need that many. I don't need Game Pass, Steam Deck, Switch 2, a PlayStation Portable. I don't need that in my life.
Welcome.
I don't go on airplanes that often. I mean, like, yes, I go on an airplane now and again, but not often enough that I need 2 different portable consoles.
Welcome to late stage capitalism. I'm sorry.
I need one portable console, and I'm so sorry to everybody else, but the Switch has already claimed that place. You can't take the Switch. You just can't.
I don't even play my Switch portably. I don't. I just don't.
I do.
Well, yeah, because you play it in bed. You don't hook it up to your TV.
Well, I do sometimes. It's hooked up to my TV now. Oh. But, like, when I was playing Echoes of Wisdom, I brought that to my friend's house a few times, or, like, I bring it on airplanes when I go on airplanes.
Yeah, I've tried to play Switch on a plane. I can't get myself to do it. Because most of the time when I fly, though, it's like 6 a.m. and I have no energy to begin with. And I'm just like, I brought this for entertainment, but I can't even entertain myself with how tired I am. You know.
It's understandable. If you can sleep on a flight, sleep on a flight. But
I can't.
If you're on like a 15-hour, 8-hour flight, Switch is king.
Yeah, I can't even sleep on a plane. That's my curse. When I went to Greece, I couldn't sleep the entire time. It was ridiculous.
You just sit there.
I still play my DS, but the battery's so bad it mainly has to be plugged in. I have my DS. You can get a battery replacement for DS for for $10. Get that battery replacement.
I have 3DS. I don't play it though. The only game I ever have is Animal Crossing New Leaf, and New Horizons exists. So what's the point?
I have a bunch of 3DS games. Did you not? Oh, you didn't play the Kingdom Hearts 3DS game on 3DS. You played it on PlayStation.
Yeah, I didn't even buy myself the 3DS. My friend bought it for me for one of my birthdays one year because I was moving to Japan, and I was going to leave my Wii behind, which had Animal Crossing City Folk on it, and so she gave that to me with New Leaf so that I could play Animal Crossing.
Oh.
It was very nice. And I did play a lot of New Leaf.
That's valid. In more Xbox news...
why? Why is there so much Xbox news?
This one is actually I'm okay with. They pretty much have announced like yes, there are more games, Xbox Studios games that are going to other consoles. They haven't announced what they are, but they're
Starfield.
Like,
I can't wait for them to say Starfield's coming to other consoles and we'll watch people lose it.
People are not going to care. People are not going to get it.
I mean, not like lose it in excitement. I mean, the Xbox people who are like, you're going to be so sad because Starfield's the game of a generation and you don't have an Xbox. What you do?
And there is at this point, there's no such thing as an Xbox console exclusive because everything they drop goes to PC. Literally everything they drop goes to PC.
So, I don't know where the fanboys are coming out where they're like, you have to have the Xbox.
The Xbox.
No, if you have a PC, you can play Xbox. There's really no point to have an Xbox.
Microsoft, I know you're not listening. Jeff, it's not Jeff Keighley, wrong guy. Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer, if you're listening out there, drop the hardware, go the Sega route, cut your losses, just release software to everything else. You'll make so much more money that way. Just do that. And then let Sony handle the hardware stuff. Please.
We don't need it.
We don't. At this point,
becoming oversaturated. The market has become oversaturated with consoles.
There's like 4 main players and a bunch of emulators that are not legit.
I mean, now we're getting like the Steam Deck too, and now the Xbox is releasing a portable one.
Yeah, I was talking about the
regular Xbox. There's the Xbox portable. There's Steam Deck.
Yes.
There's PlayStation.
And there's Switch.
There's Switch, and then there's PC.
I wouldn't consider PC a console because it's used for other things. Most people.
But people buy PCs for the sake of playing games as well.
They do. I just don't consider it part of the console space. I mean, I have a PC not for gaming. I have it for streaming, though. If I can't get a game on something, I will get it on Steam. Like, because indie games, for some reason, it's cheaper for an indie game just to go to Steam, and I get it. But I digress. Not game-related news, but I think it's too funny not to talk about.
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about what I think? Are you talking about what I think about the guy?
It's too funny not to bring up the fact that The Onion has purchased InfoWars. Not gonna say anything else. You guys can pick up what I'm putting down just from that. Like,
we're getting political on here, and we're, you know what? Every platform, we don't often get political on here, but I think every platform is a good platform to like shit on Alex Jones.
Oh,
if I have the opportunity to shit on Alex Jones, I'm gonna take it.
This is the one thing I think that InfoWars has done to unify us is that it doesn't matter if you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're gay, you're straight, whatever. You hate Alex Jones just by default. Like,
if you're not from the US, you don't know who Alex Jones is. Just keep the peace, man. Just keep the peace.
My favorite.
Don't let that in your life.
My favorite comment that came from this was somebody said, this is really going to dilute the trustworthiness and brand reputation of The Onion. And I think that's the funniest thing that could have come from this.
That makes me so happy. I love The Onion. Like, this was the best purchase anyone ever could have made. Like, they win. Like, this is the funny political news that we all needed in the wake of the horror we're living through, so.
Did you hear their statement about it?
They did it because they knew it would be the funniest thing they could do. Yeah,
someone just said, hey, you should do this, could be funny. And the CEO was like, yeah, that would be hysterical. Let's do it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you to the Onion CEO for being as funny as you possibly could.
And in my last piece of news, that is not gaming related, but it is content creator related, and I'm really hoping everyone's hoping for the same thing. Tomorrow is the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, and
I don't want to talk about that.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows. I hope that 58-year-old man beats the shit out of the 27. Is he 27? I don't know how old Jake Paul is.
No, he's awful.
I hope
talk about him.
Mike Tyson destroys him
on this platform. I can shit on Alex Jones on this platform, but I don't want to shit on Logan Paul on this platform.
No, I didn't say Logan. I didn't say it's his younger brother.
Oh, Jake Paul, whatever. They're the same person.
No, Jake is significantly worse, in my opinion, at least. He's significantly worse.
I don't think I know enough about them to say, but
you don't need to. Save your sanity.
Great. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Either of them. Either one of those little weirdos.
I'll be watching it tomorrow. Just to me, my brother, and Allison are gonna be watching it tomorrow. So we're very interested. So
why are you doing that with your time?
Because we want to see Mike, 58-year-old man, beat the shit out of this 27-year-old.
You're right. This episode is very tangential today. I did not make that happen, for the record.
I'm the one who does the news segments. I'm the one who looks up the news stories before.
Well, now your news segments are going to have to be vetted before we start. You're going to start bringing Jake and Logan Paul into the ring.
That does remind me. I do have one more news story. It is gaming related, and it's very small. Pokemon TCG Pocket has been exploding, and it has been doing very well. They're making millions of dollars a day. But from my experience playing it over the past couple weeks, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to spend any money to play it. You open 2 packs a day for free. and then you can just play the card game on there for free, no charge. There's no ads. It's not that the scummy ads. It's like if you want to spend money, you can, but you really don't have to. So I think they're doing it right. I'm happy with it. If you're into the TCG but don't want to gamble all your money on real cards, that's an option for
Way
you.
to go.
It's not a bad value proposition. Plus they also give you a bunch of items like if you level up and stuff to where you can open more packs in a day. Like there's so many ways to do this the whole game for free. So they're doing a very, very good job there.
For them.
That's it for my news. Now we can jump into a thing I have literally no knowledge about. So I'm going to sit here and ask stupid questions as much as they come into my little brain.
Ask all the questions. I love when you ask questions. It makes me very happy because I like talking about things.
You know, hold on. G. I will do what I like. Thank you. How dare.
We're here for the main event now that you all came for. We are talking about
Metaphor Refantasio Part 3. I'm just kidding. I'm done.
Shut up. You got two. We're talking about Dragon Age now. Specifically, Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Dragon Age the Veilguard is the 4th installment in the Dragon Age series, which is the best sum of the Dragon Age series. I would call it an action RPG game. Depending on what game you're playing, I know that the combat style has shifted throughout the series a little bit. It is getting, I think, to more action adventure. But the Veilguard just came out end of October. It's the 4th one. It's been 10 years since the last installment, which was Dragon Age Inquisition. And Dragon Age Inquisition, if you weren't aware, was very, very highly received and highly regarded.
It won Game of the Year. Yeah, I think it did. I'm gonna look it up.
I think it won Game of the Year. I think it won like 200 something. I have like the box somewhere. I'm not gonna get up to get it, but basically it was a huge success. Lauded as one of the, if not the best Dragon Age games, one of the best games. Pretty much everyone was in love with it, and for good reason. I played Inquisition for the first time over the last few months, right before Veilguard came out, in preparation for Veilguard, and I never officially reviewed it on this channel because it's 10 years old, but I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic game. I'll admit, playing it 10 years after it came out, it's certainly dated in some points. And I know that's a very sore topic for a lot of people who don't like talking about how games are dated, or they don't think games get old, or they think old games are better than new games. I'm not going to talk about it, but
mechanics can get old. I will agree. Some mechanics
can certainly get old. The Inquisition had a phenomenal story, phenomenal characters. The graphics, like for being 10 years old, weren't even, you know me, I like my new beautiful graphics.
It was early PS4, Xbox One, and then I think it also technically released on PS3 and Xbox 360 as well, but it was like late in the cycle. So I think that
it wasn't bad looking.
Yeah.
The character creator, obviously, in Veilguard was better, but Inquisition was still really great to play through. The only downsides to Inquisition for me was the worlds were really big, and there was a lot to do that was really repetitive. And your character can't sprint. You have a horse that fake sprints. There's just like an animation of wind blowing past your horse, but you don't go faster in actually any way. And for a lot of the weird climbing or finding the right path you have to do in that game, there's absolutely no mantling or climbing of any kind. Your character can only do a little bit of a hop. And it can get very frustrating to try to be traversing the world and doing that. But anyway,
I hate to interrupt, but Dragon Age was the first Game of the Year award winner when it was taken over by Jeff Keighley.
Oh, I'm gonna pretend those two things are connected. That credit.
Jeff Keighley bought it from Spike TV though, and then Dragon Age won in 2014. So there you go.
Like he came in just to give Dragon Age an
award. Oh wait, if this is the 10-year anniversary of his Game Awards, that means it's gonna be a big one.
Oh, maybe. But yeah, so I played Dragon Age Inquisition over the last few months right before Veilguard came out in preparation for this because the stories are connected. This is not a game I would recommend picking up if you wanted to start with the Dragon Age series. I wouldn't tell you have to go all the way back to the beginning. I would say start with Inquisition. You can find it pretty cheap, like $15 maybe, if that.
It was cheaper.
Most places.
I found it.
And it is still an incredible game. 5 to 10. It holds up really well. And the stories definitely intertwine. You're going to feel really, really out of it if you go into Veilguard not having played Inquisition, especially because when you start Veilguard, they import a lot of your choices from Inquisition into the game, as well as your Inquisitor from Inquisition, who you romanced, some of the bigger choices you made, and the main villain of, well, not the main villain, but one of the antagonists and the person who starts the series of events that happen in Veilguard was one of your companions in Inquisition. And one of the companions in Veilguard was a big character in Inquisition, so there's just a lot of reoccurring characters, and so I think it's really important that you start with Inquisition. But yeah, I think I put about 80 some odd hours into Veilguard to beat and nearly platinum it. I probably have about 5 more to go to get the platinum, so I'll probably end it somewhere between like 90 to 95 hours, I would think. And I loved it. Personally, I had so much fun playing this game. From beginning to end, I was absolutely hooked, addicted, having the time of my life. Now,
was it better than Star Wars Outlaws?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And
I'm listening.
Just because I did love Star Wars Outlaws, you all know that I talked a lot about how much I love Star Wars Outlaws, and I know that was not a popular sentiment among the gaming industry, but this one gets more points if only for the companions. I'm a sucker for any time you have a really big, like, found family group who become, like, your best friends, and you can make choices about what happens to them, and you can grow your relationships with certain characters, and they all have their personal quests. There's a lot more emotion and heart in it, I feel. And while I absolutely did love ND5 and Nyx in Star Wars Outlaws, it doesn't equate to having, like, 6 or 7 companions with you throughout the whole game. And this was a much longer game. I think I put like 30 some hours into Star Wars Outlaws, where again, I put like 80 to 90 in this by the time I'm done with it. And so this was definitely a better experience for me than Star Wars Outlaws, but I think they're also a little different. So not really easy to compare, but this one probably will take my Game of the Year slot. Which, again, I feel like is pretty controversial because there's been some pretty mixed reviews on...
I will give you the benefit of the doubt of the mixed reviews here because, of course, the quote-unquote anti-woke mob coming out and are review bombing it because of the pronouns and you can really make whatever character you want, LGBTQ,
there also
DEI,
is one of your
blah,
main
blah.
companions in the game starts off the game as she, her, and then learns throughout the course of the game, like their personal quest and personal journey is realizing that they are non-binary and shifting to they them, which also got a lot of people riled up and going.
Which is, it's not a fair if it's not for you because you don't understand it, that doesn't make it a bad game. That we're not jumping down this rabbit hole. I will get myself upset.
No, we don't register those opinions. I also think there's a lot of fans who, this happens with any game when you have a really long wait. I know that this happened for me with Tears of the Kingdom especially. And so I can't really blame fans for it. When you have 10 years between games, you spend a lot of time thinking about what you want from the game, what you want it to be. You spend a lot of time coming up with theories and ideas and building basically your own sequel out in your head. And I think there are definitely valid criticisms to this game, but I think a lot of it also does come down to what people imagined and hoped for and wanted did not align with what they got. And now, again, some of those are probably valid or they would be better than what the game gave us, but I also think there's just a lot of that disappointment. Like, I can register the fact that I think the Tears of the Kingdom story is very flawed, but I also think there was just a lot of disappointment for me because I had a lot of big ideas about where it could go and what it could do, and it kind of didn't do any of them. So I think that's fair. I think that's certainly fair when you spend 10 years hoping and wishing and waiting patiently for a game, and then it comes out and it's not exactly what you expected. So I don't want to say those fans are wrong or that they're too emotional in their reviews or anything like that. I just think that is definitely... I think no matter what choices the developer had made and no matter what they decided to do, I think they would have had a really hard time pleasing everyone with just how high the expectations were and what they were coming off of with Inquisition. Again, we just talked about how Inquisition was lauded as this incredible game for the last 10 years, so I think it was definitely a tough act to follow. So, getting into Veilguard and more of the specifics of it, let's talk about the story a little bit. And like I mentioned, this story starts in Inquisition, so you really do need to play Inquisition in order to fully enjoy Veilguard. But the main concept of Dragon Age is that you're existing in kind of a medieval world that exists in the Age of Dragons. Golly gee, who would have thought it? But
not me.
Who would have thunk it? It's pretty much like a stereotypical version of what you would imagine like a fantasy medieval game to look like. You have trolls, you have elves. There's a few like Dragon Age specific species like the Qunari and things like that. And they have different ways of interacting with each other. There's different racial biases. There's different cultures. There's magic. There's mages. There's warriors. There's all like the standard D&D classes. There's rogues. There's warriors, mages. So there's a lot in it. And you build your own character. And you build your own class. And then you can align yourself with different groups and things of that nature. But it starts in Inquisition. There is
it can carry over, can it? Like you said, it can carry over though from Inquisition, can it? Or is this in Inquisition?
You can't play the Inquisitor in this game. So you can carry over certain decisions like who your Inquisitor romanced, choices your Inquisitor made to like set up the world. And how your character felt about certain things when you start this, because there are some pretty big decisions that you make in Inquisition. And the Inquisitor does come in, because this is something that Dragon Age has always done. So when I played Inquisition, the main character from 2 was in Inquisition as well, and they were involved in some main quests, and you could make some big choices about what happens to the protagonist from 2, Hawk. So in this game, the Inquisitor from Dragon Age Inquisition is in the game, and they're a support system for your character throughout the game, and they come in at the final battle, things like that. And you see a bit how their story has continued in the time, which I really enjoy, because for the people who... I do like that Dragon Age jumps to different protagonists in different groups, but they still acknowledge your old protagonists and your old romances. Depending on who your Inquisitor romanced or who you said they romanced in Veilguard, you can see letters and interactions between the Inquisitor and their romantic person.
So it kind of takes a Mass Effect approach without taking a Mass Effect approach where you're playing the same character. It is like your decisions carry over, but you are a completely new person.
Yes, it is a BioWare game.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of that like classic BioWare feel to it.
Yeah.
But again, jumping back to the main story, the concept is that there's what you call our world, and then there's the spiritual world, which we call the Fade. And that's where all the gods exist. It's where the spirits exist. It's also where demons exist. And separating our world and that world is the Fade. Or, sorry, not the Fade. The Veil. So the Veil separates the Fade and our world. And Solus, who is a big character in Inquisition, he's one of your companions. At the end of Dragon Age, he reveals that he is one of the elven gods. And he was the one who created the Veil. And he has decided that the Veil was a mistake, because what it did was it destroyed elven culture, it separated the elves from their magic and their immortality, and he feels elven culture has died. And so he's going to destroy the Veil and essentially combine our world with the spirit world, which is going to bring a lot of death, destruction, chaos, and things like that. So that's where you end in Inquisition, with the determination that you're going to try to stop Solus from bringing down the Veil and destroying the world, essentially. So where you start in this game, it's now 10 years later. They've been looking for Solus. One of the main companions from Inquisition, his name is Varric. He's also a main character in 2 as well. Has assembled this team that includes you, the main character, Rook. And your job is to find Solus and stop him from performing this ritual, which is the inciting action of the game. You find Solus, he's performing his ritual, you go in to stop him, and you succeed in stopping him from tearing down the Veil, but he rips it open enough for 2 elven gods, Gillenane and Elganon, to escape. And now that the gods have escaped, they're going to try to take over the world again, reshape it in their image, and their powerful tool is the Blight, which, if you've ever played Dragon Age before, it is this diseased, I don't know how to describe it, it looks like this black goo that forms over the surface of the world, and it diseases people. People can get blighted, and then they die. So they're using the blight as a weapon and blighting really large portions of the town. In fact, one of the first big decisions you can come across in Veilguard is they're going to blight they're trying to blight and attack 2 different towns, and you have to decide which one you're going to protect and save. And each one of these towns is the hometown of one of your companions. And so you pretty much have to decide which companion you're going to side with and which one's going to hate you for the rest of the game, which is rough. They don't hate you the rest of the game, but they disappear for a really long time, and when they come back, they're in a hardened state.
That is heart-wrenching. That is like
It's rough. So, like, essentially, a blighted dragon is attacking both towns, and like, we have to decide which town we're going to provide aid to. And one is the town of Nev, Docktown, and the other town is the town Treviso, which is the home of the Crows, aka our fave boy Lucanus. And depending on which town you save, you're going to hear a lot about it. And in fact, if you don't save Treviso, you can't romance Lucanus. You get locked out of his romance because he becomes too hardened to ever date you. He's too focused on saving Treviso now.
Can you blame him? Can you blame him?
I got a lot of shit. Obviously, I romanced Lucanus, so I got a lot of shit from Nev for not saving her town. But so she was not my favorite companion in this game, purely for the sake of she was mean to me a lot.
Can you blame her?
That's essentially the main plot of the game. Is you're trying to stop Elganon and Gillinane, the 2 elven gods, from destroying the world. You got to put them back in their cage and repair the Veil. And to do so, you create the Veilguard, which is you and your team of companions. One of them is a pretty popular companion. Their name is Lace Harding, and she was a scout in Inquisition that you could interact with pretty regularly. She became a fan favorite. And so they brought her back in Inquisition. There's also, as I mentioned, Nev, who is a detective from Minrathous. There's Lucanus, who's a crow, which, Blake, I know that means nothing to you. They are a group of assassins who essentially get contracts to kill people, and they're very good at it. You also get a Canary, Tosh, who, as I mentioned earlier, they are the non-binary character, and a huge point of their plot is discovering that they're non-binary. You get Emmerich, who is a necromancer. You get Balara, who is a veil jumper mage. So basically, she studies like elven history and lore. Oh, and you get Davrin, who is a Grey Warden, and the Grey Warden's jobs are to basically attack the Blight and try to save the world. And he comes with a baby griffin named Asan. So,
I mean, while this all sounds real badass and all, the lack of bard really upsets me.
Yeah, you don't get a bard in your group, unfortunately.
Who's gonna provide the tasty jams on your adventure? You know what? No, lame. Continue.
Inquisition does have a lot of bards in like pubs and things like that. They play really beautiful music.
I'll accept it then. I thought there were no bards at all, but then if there are bards in the pubs, in the taverns, I'll accept it.
Yes. So yeah, the things I loved about Veilguard, obviously, like I mentioned, the characters. I loved their individual quests. I loved their stories. Every character has a series of quests that you do with them, and they are all very emotional, heartfelt, impactful. As I mentioned, like, obviously, Tosh, they're going through this huge thing with discovering that they're non-binary. So they have a lot of identity stuff going on. Lucanus, the crow, is possessed by a demon. And so he was actually, when you find Lucanus, you have to free him from a prison he's been trapped in for the last year, where he was tortured and forcibly possessed by a demon. And so he is going through a lot of trauma and struggle dealing with that. Your necromancer, Emmerich, is struggling with his mortality and is having to decide whether or not he's going to become immortal or not.
The man who raises things from the dead is struggling with mortality.
He sure is. And he's one of my favorites because he also comes with a sidekick. I mentioned Davrin, who comes with our Griffin Asan. Emmerich comes with Manfred, who is a skeleton with big green jewel eyes, who he put a wisp, these little wisps, these little spirits inside Manfred's body, like the skeleton. And so Manfred is his little buddy, and you can play rock, paper, scissors with Manfred at any point in time. But the poor dude only knows how to do paper. He hasn't figured out rock and scissors yet.
So he's the comic relief. I was about to say, he better be the comic relief character.
He's so funny. good number of comic relief characters, but if you look up a photo of Manfred, he's so
Okay,
stinking cute. He learns to
MAN.
talk. FRED.
Okay, Dragon Age. Okay, hold on. I'll
He's
show the chat too.
adorable. You play rock paper scissors with him. A big part of Emmerich's personal quest is deciding what Manfred's fate is going to be.
This is the
To show
man. Look at this man.
he makes he doesn't know in the beginning how to talk, so he just makes like hissing noises, but he like does little dances and he claps a lot and he serves tea. And then like later in the game he figures out how to say your name. It's really cute.
Do you want
He's
the man?
adorable.
Do you want the Manfred doll?
No, the Manfred doll's kind of creepy, but I do love Manfred himself.
He
One day
he looks like a dude I just want to hang out with on the weekends.
he's very chill. One day he's gonna figure out how to do the rock and the scissors and rock paper scissors, but we haven't quite gotten there yet.
Valid.
So anyway, that's a really big part of this game for me. I loved my companions. I loved the Veilguard. I loved getting to interact with them and taking them on their quests. There were some downsides to it as well. This was something my friends and I shared an agreement on, was that the romance in this game was pretty half-baked. It was not super well done. It was very short on content. So like, for example, in Mass Effect Andromeda, or any of the Mass Effect games really, or in Dragon Age Inquisition, you could go up to your companions and pretty much talk to them at any point in the game, and there was a dialogue wheel of interactions and like things you could say to the characters, questions you could ask them. You get the opportunity to flirt every now and again. This game, you could never go up and talk to a character. You had to wait for like a cutscene where they wanted to interact with you, or it was part of their overall storyline. You couldn't just have casual conversations with them and interact with them at their quest line, which was frustrating because that's a pretty big thing for BioWare games, to just be able to this is like a running joke. In Inquisition, you can get approval from Solus just by asking him question after question after question, because he loves to talk, and he loves to talk about how smart he is and how much he knows. And just the fact that you could never at any point be like, oh, I want to go talk to this companion and see what they have to say today. You had to wait till they wanted to talk to you. And that made it really hard to enjoy them as much as you do in Inquisition.
It sounds like budget cuts.
Yeah. It's different though too, because like in Inquisition, they're all in the same place. Like you can find the character in the same spot every single time. And in this game, they all move around the lighthouse, which is your base, and they interact with each other. So like you can go up to them and like listen in on conversations that they're having with one another, or you can run up and hug or pet Asan the Griffin. Like I said, you can go up to Manfred and you can play rock paper scissors with him. So there is like a lot of like really cute and fun interactions in the lighthouse. It's just weird that you can't go up to and talk to the companions whenever you wish. I always like, because I was romancing Lucanus, so every time like I finished a quest and came back to the lighthouse, I'd always like dash to Lucanus's area to see like if he ever wanted to talk to me. And I think like one time I walked in there and he was just like sitting on his bed, like head down, and he was like, Rook, I think we're low on onions. All right, thanks, Lucanus. I guess that's the interaction we're getting today. We're low on onions, thanks, dude. So glad we know that.
Glad I know I need to go to the grocery store and buy some onions. Great.
So sometimes it was pretty disappointing when you really wanted to talk to a character. You're hoping to interact with them in some way, and they're just like, hey, and you can't do anything. Which, again, translated into the romances as well, especially the romances weren't that unique. I think there was like a scripted scene for every single character at the same point in time that was only a little different based on the character you chose. So overall, that was a little disappointing, but I do think the game did a really good job of the choices that you make and getting different story and content based on those choices. Like I mentioned, that really big choice where you have to choose which town to save. Me and other of my friends made the same choice, and another one made a different choice. And we got to compare a lot of like what we had access to in the game, what we didn't have access to, what characters we were able to have, what quests we were able to do, because we had made completely different choices about what we were going to do. And the town that you don't save becomes not completely inaccessible to you, but pretty inaccessible for the most part. And the group that existed in that town, you can't access anymore. So there is a lot of diverging paths in the game based on what you choose, which was really good. So let's see. That was the companion. Oh, talking about combat. combat is very different. If you played Inquisition, it's pretty different from Inquisition. In Inquisition, you could play as anyone in your party. You had 4 members in your party. You could play as any one of them at any point in time, and you could control them that way. This I found to be overwhelming and frustrating for me personally because I don't enjoy trying to control 4 characters at once if it's not like a turn-based situation.
Are they not controlling themselves if you don't?
No, they do control themselves,
Okay.
but like you could swap to any character at any point in time, or if they died, you had to like heal them. And so it was just a lot all at once to try to be keeping track of 4 characters and where their health was at and whatnot. So I much preferred this game style of you have 2 companions with you at all time, and you can't control them. Like they don't have health bars, but you can like instruct them. So there's like a wheel that you can pull up while you're in combat of all your special abilities as well as your companions, and there's like certain combos. So you can see like, oh, I have Nev and Balara with me, and because I have the 2 of them together, they have this really powerful combo between the 2 of them. Or like if I bring Nev with me, she and I have a really powerful combo. So it's really smooth in my opinion and really like quick moving. It doesn't break from the like button mashing essentially that you typically do in these games. And it allows you to make your companions useful without having to worry about like their every single move and if you need to control this person or that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It sounds like something I could mess with. It sounds like I think it just depends. I can see where it gets frustrating. I would be the person who's like, oh, I can control them. I do it once and I never do it again.
It's just too much in Inquisition, unless you're going to do like a Persona type thing where you can like take turns and like you decide what each companion does, which I think is more beneficial. This was just like a free-for-all, you run into battle kind of thing. And in Veilguard, I really enjoyed being able to, because you get skill points for your companions as well, so you can level them up in certain areas and decide what you want them to prioritize. And so I did enjoy being able to like focus on what kind of combinations I was going to do for certain characters and taking them into battle with me. And then other characters was like, I don't like what you bring to the table, so I don't bring you with me often.
Are any of the companions missable?
No, not this time around. In Inquisition, there were missable companions, but I don't think you can miss any of them in Veilguard.
Okay. That's good at least.
I think they're all essential. I certainly liked some of them more than I liked others.
I hate missable companions. Like, if you're going to make companions, they cannot be missable.
Yeah. No, none of these are missable. I think there's 2... maybe 3 in Inquisition that are missable. I think Blackwall, Sarah, and maybe one other are missable in Inquisition. But you have way more companions in Inquisition, I think, than you do in this. Or maybe similar. But I certainly preferred these companions overall to Inquisition's companions.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I thought the combat was really smooth. I played, admittedly, not standard. I played one below standard. There were 6 levels. There was like easy, medium, medium hard, and hard. And I did easy medium.
I think that's valid. If there's like storyteller, I try to avoid storyteller if I can, which I consider like, the you can't die situation, and I'll play easy. I will try medium first. And then if I'm like, this is too much, I'll go to easy. I'm not the same gamer as I used to be.
I almost did. So the lowest level you could do was like the narrative mode.
Yeah.
And I didn't do the narrative mode, but I did go in the middle. So it was a tad easier for me, but I did really enjoy the combat. There were a lot of fun. Each world, each like area had its own champions that you had to fight that required different tactics to be able to complete those. And those were really fun for me, but also my friends played on higher levels than I did. And so hearing them be like, I can't get this champion. How did you do it? And I was like, you know what? I just played on an easier level. I also played as an elf warrior. So I had like this tiny elf girl with this absolutely giant hammer that was absolutely destroying enemies. And it was fantastic. I loved it. So I found the combat super satisfying. I know there are some people who prefer the old style of the combat, but for me, this really worked.
I trust your judgment to an extent.
You know, I like being challenged in games and I like combat, but I think sometimes it can overstay its welcome, especially this game. I felt it teetering on that point where sometimes you're doing a really big quest and it's just like group of enemy after group of enemy, and then you progress and it's another group of enemy and then another group, and it's like,
Yeah, I hate gauntlets. I hate force gauntlets. Like optional gauntlets for like special things that you don't have to do, I'm fine with. But if you force me through a gauntlet before it's like to get to the next point, it drives me nuts.
Are two of those.
The only exception is the Thousand Hearts challenge. It's the only exception. Best
Yeah,
best
that's what
gauntlet
I'm
in the
saying, because
game.
those are just so easy to kill.
It was so much fun too. Just bad.
It is. That's a good one. This one, yeah, there were a lot of enemies, and they just kept throwing more enemies at you. So I didn't really feel bad about doing the lighter level because there was just a lot to do, and sometimes it really would overstay its welcome. Where I'd be like, okay, I get it. I fought like how many of these now? Can I please move on with the quest? So I definitely was happy with the choices I made, but there might be people out there who prefer the old fighting mechanic style. I know that was a big thing when they released the first gameplay trailer, that some people were not thrilled with the way the combat looked, but I think it was a really smooth and really easy to use system that made it so you can use these special moves without having to kind of sit there and plan. There was like a special mode you could go into Inquisition where you looked at the battlefield from like a bird's eye view, and I think you could move certain people like that, and that was just too much for me. It's too much thinking.
Quick side tangent.
Yeah.
When we were done talking about Manfred, an image caught my eye, and I was doing some digging. Do you know who voice acted Manfred?
Is it Matt Mercer?
It is Matt Mercer.
Yeah, he does a couple characters in Veilguard.
That one's the only one that showed on here, but I was like, Matt Mercer played a side character who grunts, and that
No, he plays Viper as well, I believe.
Let me look. I can tell you right now. I have it up. He does play. He plays Viper, Manfred, and various voices.
Yeah, so he was in it a few times where we'd be like, "Who is this voice?" And we looked up and we were like, "Oh shit, it's Matt Mercer."
That is my reaction to almost anything that Matt Mercer's in. If he starts talking, I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Matt Mercer."
He's here. Good for Matt Mercer. He's did pretty well. I mean, he was just Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom last year, so.
And he was Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth this year. When he went to go and start recording, because he was told he was doing additional voices, he didn't know he was Vincent Valentine until they tricked him and he got there. That's your fun fact of the day.
Awesome.
That clip is hysterical.
Back to Veilguard. My other one really big point was the exploration. I found much more manageable than I did in Inquisition. Inquisition had like 10 to 15 different areas, I would say, on the map, different like little mini worlds you could go to, and they were all pretty big, and they had a lot of quests in them, but like lots of really repetitive quests, like go get this thing and then bring it back. Okay, well, there's 4 things, go find the 4 things. And so they weren't very like fulfilling side quests or particularly interesting. And like I mentioned before, there was a lot of like trying to mantle to certain points on the map that you weren't sure how to get to, but your character doesn't know how to mantle or jump in any way. That could get pretty frustrating. And I felt like this was a much smaller map in comparison, but I really enjoyed it. It felt much more manageable, and I really enjoyed getting to explore it. I also feel like it had a wider variety. Inquisition was pretty much all wilderness, whether you were on the Storm Coast, or you were in the desert, or you were in the bog. You're pretty much always out in the middle of nowhere, whereas Veilguard had some like wilderness places, but they also had some cities that you could go to that were interesting to traverse, and I really enjoyed the combination and the mix of different locations you could go to. And it was really easy to explore all the areas. There were fun puzzles to do, and not feel very overwhelmed. It was very manageable for me to do everything in the game. I think I did every quest. I 100%ed every single area in the game, aside from I'm missing 1 chest out of every chest in the game because it's in the city that I let get destroyed by the dragon, and I no longer have access to that chest. So I will never get it unless I completely replay the game. But I thought exploration was much better done in this one and much more manageable than it was in Inquisition.
If it's not required for the platinum, you don't need it.
It's not required for the platinum, but it bugs the shit out of me.
Valid.
Something I should also mention is that each one of these areas has a faction that's tied to it. So there's the Crows, who are the assassins I mentioned. There's the Shadow Dragons, that's an organization started by one of the companions in Inquisition. So it's this group that he's made over the last 10 years. There's the Lords of Fortune. There's the guys in the Necropolis where you get your Necromancer. And based on certain choices you make throughout the game, you can raise and lower your status with each of those different groups, and they can come aid you in the final battle. So there's like a lot of work to do there on like what your choices are going to be, and you can actually, not gonna spoil anything too big, but you can actually in the final battle get a ton of your companions killed, which was very stressful for me. And there was one scripted death that was a devastating blow. Really devastating. But this is a fun fact too. Like, you can romance any companion in the game, but there are certain scripted romances. So if you don't romance a companion, they might romance one of the other companions. So for example, because I romanced Lucanus, Harding, who is the scout from Inquisition, and Tosh, the non-binary Canary, end up dating in the game, and their dialogue and their like interactions was really cute. Or Emmerich, your necromancer, ends up dating one of the elves in the forest. And if I didn't date Lucanus, he could have ended up with Nev. So it's not just about how you interact with your companions, they interact with each other as well. And I think that's really fun.
I get fucked, Nev. Sorry.
My friend, one of my friend, this is her favorite series of all time. She romanced Nev, and so she and I had very different opinions on how we felt about Nev.
Wasn't Nev the person with the other town?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Of course.
She hated me.
Yeah, and she hates you even more now. You took her man.
I took her man. I took her town. I took everything from her. All she wore the stupidest little hats, and I couldn't stand her stupid little hat. But
oh my goodness gracious,
she was pretty far down on my list of companions that I enjoyed. Yeah, I think that's really big points overall. Like, to sum it up, I thought the companions were great. I really liked the story overall. I loved the exploration. I loved the combat, but there were way less character interactions in this one. The romance was definitely not nearly as good. Oh, this is another big one, actually. This was a huge source of frustration for me throughout the game. The map is shit.
You just said it was manageable. Hold up.
No, sorry. I mean the actual, like, function map. To, like, be like, where am I? Where am I going? I'm gonna open the map and look at the map. It's terrible. You can't set custom markers. So if you're like, I want to go here, you can't like click on the map and have like a little marker set to be like, oh, show me how to get there. You can't set those custom markers. You can only select chests to like go to the chest, or you can select, there's like fast travel points, but the fast travel points also are not labeled. And there's no like any sort of labeling on the map itself to be like, this is this area, this is this area. So like if I go to this
pretty big oversight for open world.
Okay, so like there's the world map, right? So there's the world map, and the world map is like, here's this town, here's this town, here's this town, here's this town, here's everything in that town. That is a good map. But when you go to like the specific city, like let's say I go to Treviso, which is where the crows are, the city map will be like, you have this many chests out of this many chests, and you have this many statues out of this many statues. And here are all your fast travel points. But nothing is labeled. So like there's a market in Treviso I was trying to get to last night because I wanted to buy one of the items there, but I couldn't find the market because it wasn't labeled on the map, and none of the fast travel beacons were labeled. They're not like market beacon or anything like that. They're just like beacon. This is just a beacon. And so I had to just jump from beacon to beacon and run around for like 15 minutes last night trying to find this market until finally I Googled a photo for somebody to show me where the market was. It's absolutely terrible. And I don't know why they did that. Because in Inquisition, everything was labeled. You got like not like 3D, what's like topographical map? Is how it's like, what's the map called?
Topographical, whenever you can see things raised, Yeah,
so those were like the kind of maps that you were getting in Inquisition. They were very detailed. Everything was labeled. And like you could like set custom markers. They were like quest markers. And in this one, it was just like a floor plan. Like it was just like little squares. And then nothing was labeled. And I don't know why they did that, because it was incredibly frustrating to try to like traverse the areas. And I absolutely hated it. As someone who like religiously uses markers to get from place to place in open world games like that, this was really frustrating.
To me, that's a massive oversight. Like, a lot of people take that as a small thing in the grand scheme of things. I find that to be more of a massive oversight than a lot of things. Like, if you don't have a good UI and that goes in UI, that's problematic.
It was really frustrating. Overall, like when I was trying to find specific things, wasn't too bad because there are quest markers. So like when you were doing quests in areas, it would tell you where to go and how to get there and whatnot. Um, but it did not convey that when you were just trying to explore. There was no way to really like mark where anything was or be like, oh, I wanted to go back to where that thing was. How do I get there? I have no freaking clue.
Right.
So that was a pretty big source of frustration for me. But I really liked it. The ending was fantastic. The end point from the time you start the game and the game's like, this is the point of no return. You're starting the final quest, like blah 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 blah. To the end of the game was about 5 hours, I think. I would say, give or take, depending on how slow you are. So it's a very chunky end to the game, and there are several different endings you can get. And the Inquisitor shows up at the end. It was a pretty, I felt pretty satisfying end for me.
What would you rate it? Give me a number. 1 through 10. Decimals are allowed.
It's the problem when we do the 1 through 10 rankings. I don't remember what I've ranked or rated anything ever.
Go with your heart.
I'm always like, what's a good ranking and what's a bad ranking? Because
okay, 5 is like mid. Like it's not the worst game you've ever played, but it's not necessarily really good. It's just
also done like mid games as like 7 or 8s.
I've given mid games 6. We gave Princess Peach 6 point something, and I gave Starfield a low 7.
I think you were Starfield higher than that.
No, it was initially higher, and then I went down to a 7.2. I'm pretty sure is where I finalized it.
I would rate this game somewhere in the mid to high 8s.
Valid. That's for good.
Me, personally, I think, like I said, there was a lot more I would want from this game. Fix the freaking map for one. I would like the romances to have more content to them. I would like to be able to talk to my companions at any given time. I would like, in my dreams, there's more collectibles to get, but I'm just someone who really likes getting collectibles and has fun finding all of them. This one didn't have that many. I found them all pretty quickly. But my number one thing for any game is always going to be how fun was it to play. And I had such a phenomenal time playing this game. Like I said, I've pretty much done very little else from the time I picked up to this game. The time I picked it up to now, I put about 90 hours into it. And I will say this, I did not encounter a single glitch, crash, bug of any kind. The game looked phenomenal. It ran phenomenally. So overall, like, I think people may have personal beefs with the story or the gameplay style, but I don't think there's anything huge to really put on this game to be like, this was a crime, other than the map and the half-baked romances. It ran beautifully. It looked beautiful. It was great.
Hell yeah. We love it. We love it.
I had a lot of fun with it. If you played the game, tell me who you romanced and why was it Lucanus? What else are you gonna do? Shout out to my friend who romanced Nev. I'm so sorry. I know you love her.
She's not sorry. She doesn't care.
I will like her probably, I don't know, at some point. I definitely like her more at the end of the game than I did at the beginning of the game, but I think Lucanus. I will say before I even played the game and I saw like the initial trailer and they like showed Lucanus, I was like, I'm romancing that guy. So I knew what I was about. He's also a short king, though. He's a short king. My little baby elf girl was the same height as him. My friend who romanced him also was a very tall Qunari woman. No, very tall Qunari man. And she towered over Lucanus, saying he's a short king. We still love him.
Was he a short king to a normal person?
Well, my girl was a baby elf, and they were the same height.
Okay. Well, elves are generally tall. I mean, elves are generally tall.
Yeah, but my girl was like a baby elf. He was only like maybe a head taller than the dwarves.
Oh, so yeah, he is a short king.
He, like, I would say he's probably like, I don't know, 5'5".
Oh, he's shorter than me. Yeah!
Okay, wait. I wonder if there's like a legit answer to this. How tall is Lucanus?
While she's doing that, just to let you guys know, we have one more. Huh?
3.
He's 5'3".
That can't be right. That can't be right.
While Emily is grieving, just to let you guys know, we have one more game review for the year. And granted, it won't happen until way after it already, because the game already released. Me and my brother decided to play it together, and we're going to start that this weekend. That review will be Mario and Luigi Brothership, and that will be on December 4th. It was going to be on November 27th, but that is moving to December 4th due to Emily going out of town.
One, like, post somebody made in all caps. It's like, Lucanus is 5'5", and people are saying he's a short king. I'm 5'5". Shut up, guys. He's normal height.
I'm 5'6.5", so... And if I have to say a half, I know I'm a short king.
He's such a short king. I just love that the person got like, this person says he's 5 feet 10 inches. That's fake. There's no way he's 5'10". Unless everybody else is just insanely tall.
G, what are you trying to say, G? G's calling me out in the chat saying Blake be sitting tall in his chair right now. I'm good postured, you know?
Listen, we respect our short kings. There's
That'd
absolutely
be me.
nothing wrong with a short king.
That'd be me. I'm in the short king category.
Hell yeah, you are. You are a short king, and we respect our short kings.
Now, while I have you here, because normally we would talk about this after, but I just found out that the Game of the Year nominations will be announced this upcoming Monday. So, yeah, next week. Well, this was supposed to be the review for next week. So our next week episode is going to be talking about the Game of the Year reviews. Do we agree? Do we love them? Do we hate them? It's that time, baby.
We'll talk about Game of the Year reviews, and if Blake doesn't mind too terribly, next Wednesday is also the release day for the Dreamlight Valley expansion pack DLC.
Oh,
So
no, that's
I might
fine.
talk
That's
about
fine.
that a little
Okay,
as
I thought you were
well.
going to be like, you were going to move it again. I'm like, this is
No,
supposed to be
I'm not
3 weeks in
moving
a row.
I'm not moving it, but I want to talk about Dreamlight Valley because I love Dreamlight Valley.
I can't wait for Monday now. Like, I'm looking forward to Monday. I'm like, because I was like, okay, we're not doing Veilguard this week, and Brothership's not till the 4th. We have nothing on the 20th or the 27th.
Let's guess right now what we think are going to be the contenders for Game of the Year. I think Astrobot.
Astrobot's definitely got to be there. Like, there's no question.
I think Echoes of Wisdom is going to be on there. I don't think Echoes of Wisdom deserves to be on there,
No.
but it's a Nintendo Zelda game with Zelda as a protagonist, so I think it's going to be nominated.
It won't be there because I think if that was the case, then the remake of Link's Awakening would have been on that list. And
I think they're slightly different though. Link's Awakening is a remake, which is not impossible to get because we saw Resident Evil 4, but I think it's harder for a remake to make it, and also. It didn't have Zelda as the protagonist. It didn't have a different like gameplay loop to it.
Yeah, I don't think it scored high enough. I don't think it's gonna make it.
What year did Link's Awakening come out? Because this is a slower year, I think.
2021.
I think this is a slower year.
No, that's wrong. 2019.
I don't know. I think Echoes of Wisdom could make it to Game of the Year contender. I think Astrobot, Echoes of Wisdom.
Metaphor will definitely make it.
Fantasio.
I know Final Fantasy Rebirth is going to make it. Final Fantasy Rebirth.
In my dreams, I would like to see Veilguard up there.
I don't think Veilguard or Star Wars Outlaws is going to make it. Personally,
Outlaws will make it. I think Veilguard has a pretty good shot of making it. Dragon Age is a really huge and popular series.
This is the problem though, and it's not that it's a bad game or anything, but the Game Awards is known to avoid anything with severe controversy attached. Which is why even though
Veilguard has severe controversy attached to it. I mean, like it's just like the standard like wokeism people.
I know, but it's the same reason why they're not going to do Black Myth Wukong, even though that probably deserves to get nominated as well.
I forgot about Black Myth Wukong.
You say it's a slow year. You say it's a slow year. We've had a lot of banging releases this year.
I think the controversy around Black Myth Wukong, didn't they also say to like not talk about anything feminist? Is like, I think that's a bigger thing than
it's not going to get nominated.
Having a non-binary character.
It's not going to get nominated though. I don't think it's going to.
Veilguard or Black Myth Wukong?
Black Myth. I think Veilguard has a stronger shot than the Black Myth, even though
well then what do you think is going to make the nominated? If you don't think Echoes of Wisdom, Black Myth Wukong, or Veilguard are making it, what do you think is going to be nominated?
Here's what I know is going to make. Like by default, we know Astrobot's going to make it. We know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to make it.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure Metaphor. I can't even confidently say Metaphor is going to make it. It scored high, but it's an Atlas JRPG. and the tides are not in their favor. But there's potential there. I'm trying to think. I think Stellar Blade has a shot to make it because despite the over sexualization thing, it was a very solid game and it actually rated very well. I think that has a good chance of making it as well.
If Stellar Blade makes it and Dragon Age Veilguard doesn't, I'm gonna lose my mind.
You know what? Valid.
I'm gonna lose my
mind. Also, I have some good news, Em.
What?
I have some good news about our camera change. This is the first podcast since last year where you have not froze or paused the entire time.
Hey, that is good news.
You know why I think it was? I think Discord was trying to do too much at once and couldn't handle it with your internet connection. And now it's like, oh, I have some breathing room. I'm just doing audio.
That could be. We may have fixed it.
Guys, I think we found Emily's new camera home. Just her and I are going to sit down one day and get the lighting right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tweak this.
That's fine.
It's better. It's not great. It needs to be fixed.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, I think we had a pretty solid year. A lot of games released this year. It's not as strong.
3?
Huh?
What about Persona 3 Reload?
I don't think it's gonna make it. As much as I loved it, and it's one of my favorite games I played this year, it is pretty much a 1-to-1 remake with a couple extra scenes added in to appease like the fact that your male confidants are not your male party members are not confidants.
All right. Well, I'm gonna call it now. I'm just gonna make my personal list before Monday.
Yeah,
just for posterity.
I will make my personal list after, but I want you to go ahead.
I'm not saying that these are what I truly think is gonna make it, but these are what I would select. I would probably do Dragon Age Veilguard.
Okay, valid.
Astrobot.
Valid.
We know Final Fantasy VII is gonna make it.
But this is not what you think is gonna make it. Do your favorite games. What you want.
Okay, wait, I'll do both. This is what I think is gonna make it.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII, Echoes of Wisdom, Veilguard. And I don't know, is Power World this year or last year?
That's this year, and the fact that you haven't said Metaphor yet is shocking.
I think the last one will either be a toss-up between, like, Metaphor or Power World. I don't know. It's going to be one of the other big games that came out this year.
I don't think
Power World
will make it.
I think Power World is being sued by Nintendo, and I don't think it's going to make it.
No.
Personal list of my top 5 from this year would be Astrobot, Star Wars Outlaws, Dragon Age the Veilguard. Oh, shit, Blake. We missed a really obvious one. Silent Hill 2.
Oh, yeah! That remake will probably make it. Probably make it.
Okay, I'm adding Silent Hill 2. I think Silent Hill 2 is going to make it on the Game of the Year list.
Okay, that's valid. I think it gets 6. There's 6 spots. There's 5 or 6. I can't remember.
I've mentioned every game I think will make it.
You in every game you want to make it as well?
Yeah, I think that my 2 games that I want to make it that might not make it would be Star Wars Outlaws and Veilguard. Those might just be my personal Game of the Year picks. But I think Veilguard at least deserves consideration. I don't think Star Wars will even be a contender for consideration.
Here's what I think will make it, even though one of these is going to be something I just said I don't think is going to make it, but the more I think about it, they may still go this rate because it was still very popular. There is a chance that Black Myth Wukong makes it. So I'm going to say it's probably going to make it. We both agree Astrobot's definitely going to make it. There's no question about Astrobot going to that list. I think that Helldivers 2 is going to make it.
I forgot about Helldivers.
Big explosion. I'm eventually going to get it and actually play it because I hear nothing but good. People still to this day, it's been, a whole year and people are still loving that game and having a blast with it. I think, I know, once again, we know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to make it. It was one of the highest rated, biggest hyped games of the year. For that, I'm pretty sure Metaphor is for sure going to make it. I'm going to toss up because once again, it's Atlas. And people complained about it looks like a PS3 game, even though you got to remember it's Atlas. Sega's not giving them that much money since they might start after P3 Reload's launch and this launch. Sega's going to be like, oh, they're making some shmoney now? Okay, here's some shmoney. Make a bigger game, right? I think this year Atlas has really proved himself. Give me P6 like now. Uh, what I want to make it. Here are the top games I played this year. Here are the top things that I've played this year. Is Persona 3 Reload. It is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It is Astrobot. It is Metaphor, and it is Stellar Blade. Those have probably been my favorite games that have released this year that I've played by far. Which, by all accounts, I should have hated Stellar Blade because it's technically a Souls-like, but it's a very accessible Souls-like that wasn't so hard. So the fact that I liked it is shocking. Maybe because it was so accessible, and I could play on easy mode and not feel like I was being like destroyed. But yeah, that is my list. God, I'm excited for Monday. It gets announced at noon your time.
Oh, that's going to be big. That's going to be big. I think... You really don't think Silent Hill is going to get the nomination? You didn't list it.
I don't think it will. Because from what I understand, it was pretty much a 1-to-1 remake. Unlike you said, RE4 was not a 1-to-1 remake.
I don't think it was a 1-to-1 remake. I think a lot of the puzzles and like a lot of the combat and stuff was completely new.
It may have been. I don't know.
I think it also rated pretty high and was pretty highly reviewed.
Let's talk about the real unsung hero of this year, which is Piglet's Big Game. Even though it came out in the early 2000s.
What an amazing comeback for that game.
I want to go to my local game store to see if I find it and see if they've gone in with the price hikes. Because if it's there and it's like $15, I'm buying it right then and there. Like, there's no question in my mind.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Do they do DLC for like contenders at any point? I mean, not for like Game of the Year, but do they have a category for DLCs, like best DLC?
Oh, yeah, Shadow of the Urk Tree.
Shadow of the Urk Tree. There was another one I was just thinking of. What was I thinking of? Oh, the Alan Wake 2 DLC came out. That was really popular. There were a couple of those.
Persona 3, The Answer, a.k.a. Operation Aegis, which I still haven't played yet. I need to download it and play that. It's a $35 DLC, but it's a 30 to 40 hour campaign, so I'm not mad about that. That's a dollar an hour. That's pretty good deal. Let's be real.
All right. Well, this will be interesting. We'll see what Monday will bring us.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, it releases at noon your time, 11 my time. Oh, man. But is it live on... Oh, no, that's just an option to watch on Twitter. I almost called it X and I almost vomited. Yeah, we're probably going to watch this. And then the Game Awards are on Thursday, December 12th. If I'm going to be real with you before we cut, and you can say no, I think the day of the Game Awards, the podcast will just be us watching the Game Awards and talking about announcements and releases.
Oh, well, we can think about that. The Game Awards are like 4 to 5 hours.
No, they're not. It wasn't that long. I think it's
I feel
like 2
like
to
they
3.
were pretty long.
Game Awards.
Maybe they're not 4 to 5 hours. I just remember them being really long. I think runtime was 3 hours. There's a lot of bullshit in there.
You can't handle me for 3 hours?
I don't know. It just feels like a really long live stream when there's like a lot of like I remember 75% of it being ads.
I mean, yeah, I think they're going to take... I hope they take the criticism from last year, but I guess we're in late-stage capitalism. Who knows?
We can see if that's something people are interested in doing. If people want us to do it, I'd be up for doing it.
It will be on my Discord in a poll tomorrow, so get ready.
Don't vote yes if you're not going to show up for it, because I swear if y'all go and vote yes, and Blake and I stay here for 3 hours watching Jeff Keighley, and you don't come here, I'm going to be livid.
Emily's going to be so mad.
It's cruel to like expose someone to Jeff Keighley unprompted and then not show up.
But what if Timothy Chalamet comes back?
Oh, you mean very famous Twitch streamer Timothy Chalamet?
You know who I would have... I mean, look, just bring Markiplier. All you have to do is get Markiplier and everyone
they can't get Markiplier. They can't get Mark. Are you kidding me? Like, Timothy Chalamet is the kind of guy they'd be like, okay, like... They want you to come to the Game Awards. You'd be like, oh, I don't even know what that is. And they're like, well, they're going to pay this much money. It's like, I fucking guess I'll go. Markiplier is like enough in the gaming industry that they would be like, do you want to come to the Game Awards? He's like, no, I don't want to do that.
I think he would do it only because he's releasing that movie. And it's free press for the movie.
Oh, maybe.
Iron Lung.
What do you think are the odds of Kojima showing up and just dropping more random information? Because we haven't gotten an iota of anything since the last Game Awards where he showed up and showed us a trailer and then walked away.
It is Kojima. He's gonna be there because he doesn't just have that. He also has Death Stranding 2. like coming out next year.
I guess that's fair. He just like showed us whatever that was. OD? Was it OD? And then like walked away. And we haven't heard anything about it since.
Our next episode we'll be talking about the Game Awards announcements. We might go through the votes. I guess we go through the voting process. We might talk predictions, and then Emily will talk about Dreamlight Valley DLC. And then the week after that, we can finally do our argument on the best 3D Zelda game.
What week is that?
That is going to be the 27th.
Okay.
And then on the December 4th, which would have been our 3D Zelda picks, that will be me and my brother Reno, my brother Chip, according to Emily. We'll be talking about Mario and Luigi Brothership, which you can watch me stream that this Sunday for the first time.
Are going to Paris.
Yeah, she's leaving What day do you leave?
The 2nd.
Oh yeah, like 2 days before. I get to take over and do whatever I want. She can't tell me what to do. I'm in charge.
But I was also gone in Japan and Korea, and you didn't do anything wild then, so.
I mean, yeah, you were here. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're so right. Absolutely was.
It was not chasing a wig. There was only technically one time that you weren't here when I was with Cidragosa. It's true. That's true. On that note, if you're not subscribed on the YouTube, then you suck.
Please.
Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a like and comment. Also, you can subscribe on Spotify. We upload to Spotify. Spotify just notified me they're going to allow thumbnails finally. So I can upload the thumbnails Emily sends me to Spotify.
Nice.
And then, of course, if you're on YouTube and you don't follow us on Twitch, follow us on Twitch. Find me on my individual Twitch, The Bearded Blake Show, and find her, Emily Jean 33, which she hasn't streamed since Silent Hill 2, but she'll be back.
I'll be streaming, I think, tomorrow, probably.
Ooh, what are you playing?
I'm going to play an indie horror game that our wonderful friend G got for me. And
Choo-Choo Charles.
What else? Just probably a lot of indie horror, I would think.
Choo-Choo Charles.
Choo-Choo Charles? I've seen a good chunk of Choo-Choo Charles. I don't need to stream Choo-Choo Charles. I will maybe see if I can borrow my friend's PS4 and play the OG PT, because I did promise that a while ago, and I feel like I should honor that promise. So.
I mean, yeah, because if you don't yell at them, they're not going to let you get it.
Yeah. So.
And just a last friendly reminder, the week of Christmas, we won't be here.
No, I have things to do. If you think I'm going to be here talking to all of you about video games, I have Christmas presents to open. I have cinnamon rolls to eat.
She'll be seeing me the weekend before.
Yes, I will not be here talking to you about video games. And what video games will I talk about? There's nothing coming out in December anyway.
I don't know if that's even necessarily true. It's just nothing worth it.
The Hobbit, the fun little Hobbit game that was like slice of life game, was supposed to come out in December. It got pushed. So
yeah. On that note, we'll see y'all next week. We're going to talk about Game Awards and all that. All right, bye, everyone. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.